Hello! Wait, I'm gonna.
The way that the love looks on here, sure.
Hello, TJ Maxx shoppers. Wait, got a little bit. Bedtime Island, okay. Hello and welcome back to Video Games. I'm Tim Rogers. You are watching some jagoff who receives a literal paycheck to sit in front of a camera and act like his opinions are more important than yours. Guess what? My opinions are not more important than yours. Your opinions are the most important opinions in the world. You don't need to listen to anything that I say. Having said that, I would enjoy it if you did. Otherwise, I'm just sitting here like a weirdo. So today I would like to present to you my pre-review of Animal Crossing New Horizons for the Nintendo Switch. There's a typo in the teleprompter already. I wrote that. It says New Horizon. This is gonna be such a scam. Let's go. I'm a dirtbag. In a pre-review, I draw upon my 2 decades of manifoldedly multifaceted experience developing, designing, marketing, advertising, and critiquing video games to detective extract every last truth morsel about an anticipation hot upcoming video game. And I'll give you my verdict up front. Animal Crossing New Horizons is going to be a phenomenal masterpiece of a video game, absolutely worthy of the series' legacy. And people are going to love it a million times more about 4 years from now than they do this year. Because some critics, I foresee, assuming the role of Nostradamus, so it's a Gama Sutra joke for my buddy Chris Graft.
My name is Chris Graft with GameSutra.com.
Nostradamus. I foresee some critics will not get too excited. I'm going to go so far as to predict that at least one major outlet is going to give Animal Crossing New Horizons an 8 out of 10. Is it New Horizon or New Horizons? Why did I type New Horizon twice? This script was written on the goddarn... I wrote this script on my motorcycle, okay? I was riding my motorcycle. I wrote it on my phone on my motorcycle, so there's going to be a lot of typos in here. I predict IGN's going to give it an 8 out of 10. I just said IGN. I didn't mean to say IGN. I predict a major mainstream outlet is going to give it an 8 out of 10. Let's go ahead and say that's IGN. I don't want to troll IGN. So if you've jumped to this exact timestamp of the video, I probably have an image to my right that says predicted IGN score 8 out of 10, and you're ready to write a comment about what kind of a freak I am. First of all, I'm not the one giving Animal Crossing New Horizons an 8 out of 10, and neither is IGN, okay? We are engaging in an exercise in conjecture here. We're just making stuff up. However, it's to borrow the Greek term, it's a hypothesis, it's an educated guess. I'm not lying when I say I have 2 decades of experience in the video game industry, okay? I've worked on video games for you. That's how you know I've actually worked on video games. I didn't say I made video games. Even when I'm in front of a camera, the switch turned on in my jerk mode, and I'm trying to act like a bragging, arrogant person just to bait hateful comments because I know that drives engagement. Even then, I stumble to sound fully arrogant. I say I worked on games. I don't say I made games. Lots of people make games together. And when you look back at it, it's not the finished product, it's the work you did. It's the work, okay? So even in the back of my head, my deepest subconscious cannot summon the arrogance to pull off these histrionics in front of a camera. I'm sorry. I can't commit fully to this character. There's a real person in here. God darn it, I'm sorry. I got a real person in me. And one of these days I'm gonna let you see that person. Not right now though, because I believe I was in the middle of talking about why IGN is going to give this game an 8 out of 10. An argument generated from an educated guess that I don't really care. If you care, if IGN does give it an 8 out of 10 and you care, that's weird. Again, your opinion, more important. I don't know. God darn it. Okay, anyway, let me explain this hypothetical 8 out of 10. The short version of this hypothetical 8 out of 10 is that Nintendo made us wait way too long, and this new game departs too much from the exact formula that made the series famous. Now, the long version of why I think IGN or somebody's going to give it an 8 out of 10 requires me to talk about the game for a bit. First, I'm going to say I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 because I love Animal Crossing and I'm 100% chill with Animal Crossing. I'm 100% bought into Animal Crossing. God darn, 19 years ago, I bought into this series. So let's actually talk about this video game. Okay, so in a section that literally says about the game. There's only 2 sections in this. It's a thin little script. It's more like notes, more like lecture notes. Colleges, book me for your lectures. I'll be at UC Berkeley in March, if you're at UC Berkeley. They sent me an email this morning. I didn't reply yet, however I will. I will say, why yes, is what I'll say. So you come to see me at UC Berkeley, and I'll be slightly more of a normal person there than I am right here. There's 2 sections. There's intro and about the game. This is all you're getting today. About the game. Animal Crossing it says New Horizon again. I thought it was New Horizons. I can't believe I don't actually, I'm gonna look up the name of this game. We're gonna do this on camera. I'm gonna look this up. Or buying new omega-3s. My neurologist recommended these. He said they're basically medicine. Animal Crossing. It is New Horizons. Why did I type New Horizon? Probably for the same reason the neurologist prescribed the pharmaceutical grade omega-3s. I got loose synapses. Something jarred my synapses recently. Okay, so Animal Crossing New Horizons for the Nintendo Switch comes out on March 20th, 2020. That's 3 20s in one date. That's not bad. That's numerologists take note. That's the same day as Doom Eternal. And I have in my notes here that I should struggle to make some kind of a joke correlating the 2 games. We're going to go ahead and X that out because that's a tired, kind of boring. It's like I'm not on a goddamn podcast here. Animal Crossing is a series of video games which teach children to behave amicably within communities and to hate landlords. In the Animal Crossing series, there's this guy, Tom Nook. He's a raccoon. He's not a raccoon. I think they call him a raccoon in the English, the localized version. He's really a tanuki. Now, tanukis, much like raccoons, they're regular rat garbage dumpster ripper kind of rodentine animals, even though they're clearly dog bears of a sort. Though they are trash rippers. They are dumpster swimmers. They rip stuff up and they cause havoc for domiciles, and they're known to hoard things to make little collections. They're punks. They're dirtbags. They're dirtbag animals, much like landlords. Tom Nook is a guy who, basically in every Animal Crossing game, you move into a city or a town, and you meet this tanuki, often tricksters in Japanese folklore. You meet this tanuki who, he just scumbags you into renting a house, and then you owe him money. I don't want to say a subtle critique of capitalism, though I guess a lot of people who play these games, they're suckered in by the pastel graphics. They might be actual children playing Animal Crossing. I don't think Animal Crossing's for children, actually. Animal Crossing it's pastel and it's infantile, though in a macaroni and cheese sort of way. It's for adults. Adults play Animal Crossing. Though if children did, they would inherit what would be to them a subtle critique of capitalism. They don't know what capitalism is. If you're 5 years old, you don't know. So as of Animal Crossing New Leaf 2013, Tom Nook has 2 nephews, Timmy and Tommy. I just have in my notes the 3 words, rich people multiply. That's because that's what happens. Do you know what the easiest way? I'm going to teach you one weird trick to get rich. You know how you get rich? You know the easiest way to get rich? One weird trick. The easiest way to get rich is to fall out of another rich person. That's basically how you do it. That's the world, okay? Do not hang out with rich people. Tom Nook runs a chain of stores in the Animal Crossing series. He's got a chain of little convenience stores and department stores. Don't mistake that for service industry experience. I'm sure he does not tip waiters, and he tweets about it. Don't hang out with that guy. Timmy and Tommy, his nephews. Rich people multiply. I don't know. I'm exercising restraint in this video. For you, I've got just written down here now in my notes, I have the release dates for the games. So here's what we got. So bear with me here. April 14th, 2001, The original Animal Crossing came out for the Nintendo 64. And yes, it was a Nintendo 64 game in Japan. The GameCube version, Animal Crossing Plus, was the one that was released in the US. And that actually came out I don't have this in the notes, but that was I think 8 months after. I think it was December 2001. They released Animal Crossing Plus for the Nintendo GameCube. Just a gorgeous game. And I remember at the time that Animal Crossing 1 came out, I remember some online video game publications that I read. They were confused about what kind of game it is. Like, what kind of game is this? Is it an RPG? Is there a story? Nintendo says it's a communication game. It was just kind of argued about and confused about quite a bit by these, I would call them conservative, maybe not politically or ideologically. They were very formalist, conservative. They cared very much about a game being a gamey game. Animal Crossing was treated as this weird blip. And I remember it being big on RPG forums where people cared about RPGs because it had a top-down perspective, it had characters, Nintendo had made Earthbound. I remember people thinking maybe this is an RPG, maybe there's a story. No, from the details that are in this translated article from Famitsu magazine, there's called a communication game where you deliver letters.
It's a game about delivering letters? That sounds dumb.
People didn't know what it was. And then when it came out, all was laid bare. And I wrote a review of it that I continue to get hate mail about today from people who think I wrote it yesterday. I didn't write it yesterday, I wrote it 18 years ago. 18 god darn years ago I wrote that review, okay? That's a long time ago. I didn't write it, there's a date right on it. And you're looking at it in the Internet Archive. Why would you assume that I wrote it yesterday? And what are you sending a guy hate mail about an article for? Go back to school. Go ask your mom to make you some more pizza rolls. I don't know. And then the next Animal Crossing game was Animal Crossing Wild World. Came out on November 23rd, 2005. And that was for, if I'm not mistaken, the Nintendo DS, a handheld system. I'm getting at something here. The next Animal Crossing was Animal Crossing City Folk, November 16th, 2008, for the Nintendo Wii, which was it was on a home console again. So after 7 years not being on a home console, 7 years after the first Animal Crossing, they released the second home console Animal Crossing. An interesting note. Okay, so the next Animal Crossing, the next big one, was Animal Crossing New Leaf for the Nintendo 3DS. Now, I don't think City Folk was that popular. It's the only Animal Crossing game I did not play, because at the time it came out, I was developing video games in Japan, and I didn't have time to play any video games, which was sad. The Nintendo Wii is kind of a black hole for me. I'm trying my best to fill in the gaps in recent years. I've been revisiting some Wii games. Though Animal Crossing City Folk, I feel like maybe it didn't sell super well. Again, I didn't do any analysis because analysis is for narcs. Though Animal Crossing New Leaf came out on November 8th, 2012 in Japan, and then it came out on June 9th, 2013 in North America. They didn't kind of see the appeal of releasing them at the same time. It's almost as though they planned not to. Maybe they thought they weren't going to do it. Now, since Animal Crossing New Leaf on the Nintendo 3DS, which was really big, they've released 3 more Animal Crossing games. Happy Home Designer in 2015, Amiibo Festival, also in 2015, that was for the Nintendo Wii U, and Pocket Camp, a mobile game, in 2017. New Horizons comes out March 20th, 2020. So the last 3 Animal Crossing games, since we had a real one, 3 of these 7 existing Animal Crossing games are not mainline games. And one of those 3 is a mobile game. So I would say that counts for 2 non-mainline games. I would say that the sin of releasing a mobile game with mobile game nonsense in it counts for 2 non-mainline games. So we can say that half of the Animal Crossing games are not significant. Not only that, all 3 of those spin-off games, one of them is bad. I would say the mobile game is bad. One of them is very mediocre. The Amiibo Festival is like a weird board game. And one of them is decent. Happy Home Designer is a decent game. It's a neat Animal Crossing minigame. I like it a lot. They were released between the most recent mainline Animal Crossing and now. And I will admit I don't actually know if Animal Crossing Pocket Camp is bad or not. I never downloaded it because I'm not a narc. And I have I'll show you a screenshot of my iPhone home screen. You can see how many apps I have. I don't do apps, okay? I worked on enough apps. Didn't make apps, I worked on them. I don't need Animal Crossing on my phone. The most recent mainline Animal Crossing game Animal Crossing New Leaf. That came out 7 years ago. 7 years ago. It's been 7 years. There's 7 years between the first home Animal Crossing game and the second one. And now between the first big Animal Crossing game, we can say New Leaf was the first big one. I can get into that in a minute. And then 7 years between that and this new one. 7 years. That's a long time. So let's talk about what 7 years of waiting does. This is Nintendo's strategy, is to make people wait a long time. We're going to talk about what that does psychologically to a fan base of video games. New Leaf introduced Isabelle, who is one of Nintendo's most popular characters ever. And certainly, in my opinion, the best new character Nintendo has made this century. I'm going to say this century. She's the best new Nintendo character. Can't think of anybody off the top of my head as good as Isabelle. Not even Waluigi. Isabelle's the best. I love Isabelle. I wish she was my best friend. Isabelle, if you're watching, my Twitter DMs are open. Be my buddy. Animal Crossing New Leaf, when it came out on the Nintendo 3DS, it was at a point where video games were becoming a thing. Social media was a thing. There was no social media for the original Animal Crossing. You had to have a live journal. You had to be a weirdo. When New Leaf came out, it just immediately assumed the de facto role of the team captain for its whole genre of video game, whatever its genre was. It's its own genre. Animal Crossing is its own thing. So to reiterate, New Leaf came out in Japan 7 months before it came out in the US. For all intents and purposes, Animal Crossing New Leaf was the first Animal Crossing for just a huge number of people. And I know you have fond memories of playing Animal Crossing on GameCube and DS and Nintendo Wii, and even that Happy Home Designer game. And if you're a weirdo, you might have a decent memory of that Animal Crossing Amiibo board game thing that came out on the Nintendo Wii U. And if you're a psycho, you might have enjoyed whatever that mobile game that I never downloaded because I'm not a narc was. I'm just saying that Animal Crossing New Leaf was the first big Animal Crossing game. It was the first Animal Crossing game that got released when Tumblring and Twittering were things that people did. New Leaf became memes. However, being on the Nintendo 3DS kept Animal Crossing New Leaf from going completely viral. Back then, Twitch streaming was still a relatively new phenomenon, and up-and-coming Twitch streamers could not even monetize Animal Crossing. Now, I personally believe Animal Crossing is the perfect game for streaming, for the sorts of streams I would want to watch, and I'll get into that a little bit in a minute. I think not being perfectly streamable was a problem for Animal Crossing New Leaf. Again, I know it's a masterpiece. No, you're not allowed to say anything bad about Animal Crossing New Leaf because it's got my good friend Isabelle in it. However, there was a little bit of a problem for it. That's why I think that even before Nintendo announced the Nintendo Switch, like when they announced they were making a new console, before people knew what the console was or that it was called the Nintendo Switch, people were already hungry. They were hungering for a new Animal Crossing game. We didn't even know what we hungered for. Probably we hungered for a new Animal Crossing on a home console that we could watch long, chill hangout streams of, which is important. It's going to be very important in a minute. Finally, with Animal Crossing New Horizons, Nintendo has given us an Animal Crossing game that we can easily capture video footage from. Nintendo has given us an Animal Crossing game we can stream easily. Nintendo has given us an Animal Crossing game on a console with a share button, with a screenshot button, with a video clip function. One button touch video clips that we can tweet immediately. Nintendo has given us the first Animal Crossing game on their most wildly successful console, their best console ever, the Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch is the best thing Nintendo's ever made. And yeah, this is the first Animal Crossing game for it. It's the first Animal Crossing game that is both portable and for a home console. Animal Crossing New Horizons, which comes out on the same day in both Japan and the US, 6 years and 9 months after the most recent full-scale release in the series, is in many ways that I've just laid out the first real Animal Crossing game on a future-proofy console built sturdily to accommodate copious DLC. It is the first mainline Animal Crossing game in 6 years and 9 months, during which time legends of its predecessor's perfection bubbled over, rendering the franchise as hugely important as Mario, Zelda, and Pokemon. As such, almost 7 years since the last game in the series, Animal Crossing New Horizons will inevitably be described by critics, YouTubers, and reviewers in terms of how it quote-unquote
Lives up to the hype.
And you know what? Animal Crossing is not Zelda. Animal Crossing is not Mario. Animal Crossing is closer to Pokemon. A game crafted gently by expert artisans who might know you better than you know yourself. Animal Crossing nailed its experimental fundamentals all the way back in 2001. Animal Crossing emerged from Nintendo's cutely sequestered, newness-seeking, novelty-prone designers, fully formed and fully full of all the charms it would quietly wield throughout its history as a franchise. A series as exudative of confidence as this, by necessity, evolves only glacially. For example, Dragon Quest. A mainline Animal Crossing game's fundamentals have stayed solid. The player assumes the role of a muppety humanoid, moving into a new town, renting a house from a sadistic landlord, and ingratiating themselves into the community by delivering letters or offering unprompted gifts to their neighbors. 2020's Animal Crossing New Horizons, however, implements a construction theme. Players don't just move to a town, they move to an island. A deserted island. They don't just buy a house, they buy land. They don't just move in, they pitch a tent. So the mobile Animal Crossing game, Pocket Camp, a game whose very name minimizes its self-worth, also has camping. It also has bonfire building and crafting. Some critics might cynically view this superficial similarity and decide ahead of time that they don't like it. So IGN might give it an 8. So who the heck even knows? All bets are off. Animal Crossing's gonna have its, actually maybe it's not that great moment. And I'm already sick of it. If you're watching this video months later and Animal Crossing's maybe it's not that great moment did not, in fact, transpire, if this video has more than 50,000 hits, that's why. Because somebody at IGN watched this video. I know you're watching, IGN. And I'm just freaking out over here. I'm sitting in front of the camera and I'm freaking out. When you root around down under the thunder dumpster with a rat as big as me, you're gonna find some weird trash. So the world is quite frankly not in a normal place right now. And I guarantee you that an Animal Crossing game getting an 8 out of 10 from a mainstream video game publication would not be the weirdest thing to happen in the year 2020. Whoever gives Animal Crossing New Horizons an 8 out of 10 will do so in criticism of the game's designs straying from the series' roots. I, however, urge you to just say no to any 8 out of 10 review of Animal Crossing New Horizons. Listen to me instead. Here is a game with perfect, age-proof art direction. Nintendo's expert Animal Crossing team has probably spent the last 7 years inside a gloriously comfortable little bubble, working luxuriously on only this one game. From within their fishbowl environment, they have lovingly, coolly, carefully, cozily calculated their own artisanally oblivious equivalent of every meticulous system already implemented, unbeknownst to them, in numerous Animal Crossing-inspired indie farming sims, dating sims, and lifestyle sims, all of which sprung up in the wake of Animal Crossing New Leaf. So when I first saw the trailer and I realized that this was going to be a game about building a sort of camp on a desert island, I thought, man, I don't want to go camping with other people. I've been camping with other people exactly once, and I'm not doing that again. When I want to go to the woods, I go in the woods alone. I go in the woods hoping to god darn get eaten by something, and it never god darn happens. I have so many friends who are grizzly bears at this point. It's like, I thought one of them would have killed me by now. No. My first impression of Animal Crossing New Horizons when I saw the trailer, and I'm being honest, I'm being real with you here. Normally as a professional expert talker about video games, I would not admit to this, though I want to be real with you. So I'm saying, when I first saw it, I did feel a little bit disappointed. I thought, I just want them to do the small town thing again, because that thing works and there's a lot more they can do with it. It would be especially neat if millions of people who have heard these portentous legends of the greatness of Animal Crossing, which was birthed by Animal Crossing New Leaf 7 years ago. It would be great if this generation of millions of new players would be able to easily stream their reactions to that game, a new basic big boy Animal Crossing, just a regular Animal Crossing. It'd be really nice if they could, because nobody could stream the 3DS game. There's not enough videos of the 3DS game, because streaming it and recording it required purchasing a freak load of audio-visual fetish gear. So I just thought, man, I wish they would just have a small town or a city again. And it's what's with all this camping and crafting and building a log cabin or whatever. About a minute later, I had my little moment of clarity, and I realized that this game's probably all the stuff that the Animal Crossing designers have always wanted to include in an Animal Crossing game all along. Oops. The 8 out of 10 that Animal Crossing hypothetically gets is probably going to borrow some mannerisms from ancient Super Mario Sunshine reviews that, quote unquote, didn't care too much for the tropical island theme. Much like those people long ago wanted ice levels and fire levels to go with their beach levels, some players are just going to want city levels in their Animal Crossing to go with the desert island camp levels. Though you know what? I'm calling it right now, this game is good. It's going to provide numerous wild opportunities for creative streamers. Can you imagine being a daily chill, relax streamer and having access to this game? The perfect granddaddy game of all the chill. When Twitch first got started, I got some narc psycho get me temporarily banned from Twitch because I had the game paused and I was talking to the chat for a minute. Some guy reported me and said, he's not playing the game. And I mean, obviously Twitch back then, they had to prioritize game footage because they needed a thing. I've worked as a marketing industry professional. I know, attach something to something else and it sells better. In order to sell their live streaming platform, Justin TV didn't cut it, so Twitch, they said it's games only. So they enforced games only. I got temporarily banned from my own Twitch channel. Not that I would get temporarily banned from somebody else's Twitch channel. I got temporarily banned from Twitch because the guy said I was talking too much and not playing the game. And they had like a report form, and a couple of haters, I think, probably spammed. I don't know how you go about getting someone semi-fraudulently banned on Twitch, because that's just not a behavior I would ever feel the need to perpetrate on my own. So I have a blind spot to that, much like the blind spot in my left eye that requires me to wear an eye patch while I'm editing this video. But now, in the year 2020, did you know the most popular category on Twitch is just chatting? It's the most popular category. There's a person sitting in front of a camera just talking to you. And usually they're people who look better than me or are more fluent in the language of memes, people who get a lot more Family Guy references than I do. I've never seen an episode of Family Guy. People who, I don't know, they're like sponsored by like Doritos or whatever. It's not really just chatting. It's all about the big mamu under the table. However, just chatting, most popular topic. What better zeitgeist in which for an Animal Crossing to open its picture book, pop-up book pages and just appear? It's got crafting. I bet the crafting is going to be good. It's going to be minimalist. It's going to be very nice and minimalist. It's going to be tasteful. It's going to be the fine dining. It's going to be the Michelin star equivalent of these indie, of Stardew Valley. I love Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley is that food truck in Indonesia or wherever it is that has a Michelin star. That's what Stardew Valley is. Animal Crossing is going to be French Laundry. It's going to be the French Laundry. So, in closing, we don't get a lot of Animal Crossing games. There's a new one coming out. It's on the Nintendo Switch. Let's get ready to love it. I was born stupid, however, I will not die hungry. Video games forever.